So if you know about the No Name Astray from, was it Build Divers Re-Rise, you might be thinking, that's really unique in terms of Astrays, just for being like a one-off. Well, it wasn't a one-off, don't worry. P-Bandai dipped his toe into it, and we got what it was based off of is the Load Astray Omega. I always want to say Lord Astray, I just think that sounds better. Maybe there's already another one, but Load, I mean, it is bearing a load, you'll see in a little bit. Now this is actually one of my Temu purchases because I forgot this model existed. I completely forgot it was a thing from P-Bandai because I don't really buy a lot of P-Bandai. I'm not going to say I don't because I do. But this guy was on Temu for like 23 bucks and I wasn't initially going to get it, and then I saw something it came with. I'm like, I'm going to get it. Maybe it will have it, maybe it won't. But as the figure, I'm going to say the head is not quite what it should be because I screwed up. I was putting the side gray part of the face in a different position with the white piece here. It's very detailed. It's a lot of pieces for a 144 head. But I had it wrong and I thought it's not working, so I cut it a little bit where the white should be a little higher up on the forehead. And I was just being dumb. So I'm not going to chalk that off on this being a knockoff, just me being stupid. But it looks okay now. I did have to glue those. I wouldn't have before, but I did now. It's not going to be perfect. It looks good though. Like all the extra detail you see. This Astray frame is the most detailed one they have in high grade form. It's really good. And it's got decent posability. It's just that with this one being like not real, it's a little tight here and there. And some parts like the shoulder, it doesn't. I don't know if it's supposed to rotate more, but it doesn't. It all does its thing though. It can be a little loose here and there, a little tight here and there. Thankfully, the ankles are pretty good, and I think it's because they molded in, and this is from Bandai, they molded in an ankle joint which doesn't actually exist. That is just gray plastic that looks like it has two parts you put together. So funny. Thankfully, the ball joint for the ankle gives it some rocker, so it's not that bad. I'm more of a fan of it than the No Name, because the No Name is extremely cluttered. It is, because it's supposed to be reversible, where you have like feet on the back and you got extra crap. Where this guy's just cool looking, detailed but not cluttered. And then you do have one main weapon, and for that you're going to need this backpack, because it actually has to support the weapon when it's stored, and it's way too big for that, being a Buster Sword. That's awesome. I mean, you can just see the length of it. Yeah, it's really cool. And it's good in the hands. It's good in this one's hands. It only comes with one pair of hands, but do you need more? Not really, because it doesn't have anything else. Now, being so heavy, just having it in one hand, it's gonna tilt over easily. But you can two-hand this thing because it's like a good articulation. So yeah, but you can do something else with it. You can pull off this whole section with the blade, and then you can give it a whip sword. So it's flexible plastic. You can bend it. I wouldn't go crazy, but it is kind of cool that you can have two different kinds of swords. And now what do you do with this thing? Well, this little part that connects them together, you can get rid of that and untab, flip out a handle, slide it down on a track, and you got two more swords. Or you could go a little bit of the blue frame tactical arms, and you can bend it over here, and then it's like an axe sort of. It's not really that good. It needed more stuff in here. Like blue frame has the orange bit here, which helps it fill out. I don't really care for that. I like it like that. I think it's fine. And you got about the same kind of problem with the wrist. Now the problem is here, the handle's not long enough to have two hands, and obviously you could have two at the same time. So it's gonna be a little tricky. Like he wants to drip, you're gonna have to find there's gonna be a sweet spot where you can like get it so it's not tipping from one side to the other just because the wrists are too loose. But you can fill with that, get over the shoulder sort of thing going on. And getting the full Buster Sword onto the backpack, well, these parts can move, they can be unpegged. And if you're lucky, you can get it just high enough with friction so you can slide the blade in. Just enough. Now, there's the this one has a weird little tab setup going on. Don't know if you can quite see it. But it's going to go into this one side specifically of the sword. It'll peg in there, and then you sandwich it down, and now it's on the back. That just doors are a problem, let's just say, but it doesn't have to worry about doors. Now I mentioned there was another reason I got this, not just because it's cool. They came with an extra thing. If you paid a little bit extra, I think it was like $2 more, it came with a cloak. But not just any cloak, it's actually the cloak from the real grade Crossbone X1. Yeah, it's just instead of the brown, it's black. So that in itself I think is pretty cool. So hey, even if you don't care for this, you could put it on your crossbone with a black cloth, or pretty much any, like, I don't know, I'm assuming there's different versions of the real grade crossbone from P-Bandai, so you could give them all cloths if you wanted to. Now getting it on here, a little tricky because obviously it's not designed for it, but you can. I suggest taking, you can leave the leg on, you don't have to take the leg off. It was just trying to help, but it's not really necessary. But you basically just plop it on top. Yep, very complex. Even though it has this weird, like, curved part, which would be for the chest of the crossbone, it's not that bad, really. I don't think it really is that noticeable. Maybe because the black definitely, like, it's got black in the model, so I think it kind of works. It's not a huge deal. It doesn't really stand out that much. Now there's very, very little space to get the backpack with the sword connected and having the back of the cloak on at the same time. Like, it's like millimeters. You really gotta try, because it's either that's gonna pop off or the cloak part's gonna pop off. But you can do it. I have done it. It has been done, and I'm a big fan. A big fan of this. I think it's very nice. Like I said, even with that little curve, which would be because of the chest of the crossbone, it's not that big a deal. I still like it. I mean, you could probably modify it if you want and shave this down some, maybe, and maybe if you have more of a neck showing, but I personally like it. I think that was $23 well spent. I like it. I never would have bought the official one because it was way too much for me, and I like the cloak.